So one of the things that I work on very early on with my coaching clients is how to eat out in a joyful way on a paleo diet. I have done lots of videos on kind of the nuts and bolts strategy of eating out and eating paleo. And honestly, what I say and what I'll repeat here is that it really is not that difficult. It's pretty simple, honestly, and I would argue that you could eat a paleo template at pretty much any restaurant you go to. So what are you looking for? Fairly naked proteins that aren't breaded or buried in a sauce like a cream sauce. Maybe a salad with olive oil and vinegar, avoiding the inflammatory seed oils such as canola and soybean oil, which is in regular dressings. Lots of veggies, broccoli, carrots, zucchini, that kind of thing. And again, you can ask to substitute a pasta or a bread with veggies. Most places will happily do that. And then maybe a starch. If you can tolerate rice, maybe you're having some of that. Maybe it's a baked potato or a sweet potato, or even, again, according to your tolerance, maybe even a corn tortilla on occasion. So that's what we're looking at in terms of eating paleo at a restaurant. It requires maybe a little research into the menu if that makes you feel more comfortable, or asking questions when you are at the restaurant and, not being shy to do that. This is what I want to talk about though today. It's the mental gymnastics. This is where things get tricky. So it's really not the nuts and bolts strategy of eating out. It's all of our overthinking and kind of history and nostalgia of eating out that trips us up. So this is what I want to talk about today. And the first thing that I will encourage you to ask yourself is, what does eating out mean to you? Does that typically represent celebration, cutting loose, bonding with friends, that kind of thing? I've had a number of clients that I've worked with that has been their perception of eating out. And so the idea of eating paleo and then just hanging out with friends, it feels like a total downer, and we work through this, but in the beginning we have to get really clear on what's going on, because otherwise you're going to sabotage yourself. You're going to get there, and that, little rebel in our subconscious mind is going to grab the wheel and say, I'm ordering the pasta carbonara and all the French fries. So we really want to get in front of this. So, or, you may be someone who eats out quite a lot and it's really a no big deal type of situation. And it really is, you just need the nuts and bolts strategies. Awesome. You probably don't need this video, honestly. But for the rest of us, these are some things that are going to help you be successful. Why does this matter? I'll tell you, so many people who come to this approach go so far in the direction of trying to be perfect that they will isolate themselves. They don't want to eat out. They want to stay home and make sure everything is clean and organic and grass-fed and perfect, and there's not a touch of anything impure that's, on their plate. Really a lot of it depends on your goals and your health markers, right? Like if you have celiac disease, obviously you're going to have to be a little more conscientious about gluten exposure and that kind of thing. For most of us, I'm really going to encourage you to take a deep breath and to understand that social connection is one of the key markers of overall health. So we really want to figure this out sooner than later so that we can continue to have a vibrant social life, even as we are striving towards our health goals or weight loss goals, right? So again, part of the process, along with developing some strategies, is really getting to know ourselves and understanding, why do I do what I do? Why do I make this plan? And then I get there and I do find myself ordering just the opposite. We really need to kind of plan ahead. So here are some of the keys to a successful dining experience without regret afterwards. So the first one I alluded to is really knowing your big why. Why did you start this dietary protocol in the first place? Is your goal, to improve your body composition? Are you addressing an autoimmune condition? Are you trying to reduce inflammation? Do you have blood sugar regulation issues or even diabetes? This is going to impact, your choices for sure. But I want to encourage you to keep this big why front and center. Take it with you wherever you go. We don't get to leave that at home, right? And this isn't to say that we need to be paleo perfectionists or be dogmatic, but we also don't want to make choices that are just going in the opposite direction of our goals. Why? Because we're not going to feel good about them. That's why. So, knowing your big why, that's number one. The second one is planning ahead. What do I mean by that? Do you have to get on the restaurant website and decide your entire order? No. I mean, you're welcome to do that if it's a chain restaurant and get on there and poke around. What I really mean is kind of envisioning yourself in this environment with whoever you are going to be dining with and thinking about, okay, what's going to make me feel nourished? It's going to feel abundant. It's going to be satisfying. What's going to allow me to enjoy this overall experience? What might those food choices look like? And I want you to really put yourself in that position kind of mentally for, a minute or two and really envision what you want to order. Kind of make that decision a little bit in advance. You may not know exactly what that is, but maybe decide, Tonight, I'm going to have a delicious steak, I'm going to have a baked potato, have some broccoli. I'm either going to have a glass of wine, or if they have a very special gluten-free dessert, for example, maybe I'll share that with a friend, but I won't have both. Maybe, if your goal is fat loss, for example. Kind of have a plan in advance. I'll tell you, you're going to be much more relaxed if you have a little bit of a plan and don't just try to wing it when you get there. You're going to be consumed with the menu and not enjoying who you're with otherwise. Okay. The third one really isn't just in that moment, but it's consistently throughout your day, throughout your week, consistently eating foods that you love, whether you're home or dining out. If we are eating foods that feel like punishment, I always kind of use the dry chicken breast and broccoli as an example. That's going to really make us nostalgic for the, old restaurant meals that just lit up our dopamine centers. So we really that's going to inoculate us against the nonsense that's on some of these menus. These menu items are not put on there to make us healthy, right? They're, designed to be delicious. So we've got to be eating food that we absolutely love that leads us in the direction of our goals throughout the week, so that we're not kind of building up this head of steam. I just want something that tastes good, right? That's going to be a problem. Okay. And the last one is really just always keeping front and center the notion that you are an adult and you get to choose whatever food you want. Wherever you go, you can order, you can eat whatever you choose. There is no one there to rebel against, right? Not a fan of the notion of the cheat meal. Who are we cheating on, right? That I just don't. Yes, have a planned indulgence. Own the choice, own your choices. If there are repercussions, own it. But there's no one to cheat on. So again, we want to kind of keep our food list during the week as expansive as possible, again, according to our goals, so that we are not feeling overly restricted when we go into a dining out experience and then all of a sudden we're like a kid in a candy store. So these are some of the things that are really important to a successful dining experience. So here are some key questions that I encourage my clients to ask themselves kind of in the moment, I would say. The first one, and you'll hear me say this a lot, is how will I feel about this in an hour? That gives us a lot of information. If we can, we're not trying to project out a week, a month, will this give me cancer? No. When this meal is over, am I going to feel like, oh, that was awesome. I had a great experience. I enjoyed the food, but I'm not bloated. I'm not stuffed. I didn't eat anything that is going to bleed over into tomorrow and cause joint pain, right? Or trigger an autoimmune flare. So how will I feel about this in an hour? This is also a big one. On a scale of 1 to 10, is this choice worth it, right? Be in your head a little bit of a food snob. So, if it's something super special, if you're at a special restaurant, it's an 8, 9, or a 10, and it's not going to cause fallout, maybe that's worth it to you. But if it's some kind of mundane thing, you're at Applebee's and it's, a brownie bite, come on, that's not special. So, value yourself a little bit more than that. Your goals are worth more than that. Asking yourself, will I be proud of my choices? Again, this is kind of in line with how I feel about this in an hour, but as you're going to bed tonight, you'd be like, yeah, I ate food I loved. I don't feel hungry, but I really stayed in integrity with my goals. That's a really good feeling. And that builds momentum to making more good choices. The next one is, am I accepting full responsibility for whatever I choose? Because we can kind of get out of body when we're in these moments. And, we literally almost hear ourselves ordering the thing that we would have never ordered. And so stay with yourself and understand that, okay, if I'm going to order something it doesn't align with my goals, I don't get to shame myself later. Like, I'm going to own it. I'm going to make sure it's worth it. I'm going to own it. It's worth it, right? So stay in your adulthood. Keep the adult holding on to the wheel, right? This next one is a key one because the relational aspects of eating out are so impactful. Like, we just don't even realize how much that, makes a difference when we're eating in company with other people. So asking yourself, am I subconsciously being influenced by either what other people are ordering and eating, or by my sense that they're looking at what I'm eating, right? Because we don't want there to be this disharmony there. We're not trying to cause discord. We don't want to give other people the sense that we are eating a salad at them, right? So we're trying to, just keep everything level and even. I've had, a number of clients tell me that, they have this tradition of going out for, wine and pizza or nachos or something with girlfriends. And, here they are eating paleo and they feel really funny because they feel like everyone else is feeling judged. This is where a sense of humor is so awesome. It's really, I don't think much needs to be said out of the gate, but if someone else does bring it up, if they're kind of teasing you or giving you a hard time, it's like, eyes on your own plate. I'm doing my thing, you do your thing, and this is what's working for me. So we really want to stay in our lane as much as we possibly can, but we have to be mindful of that because otherwise we will subconsciously be influenced, right? So, one of the things that I've heard clients say is, well, I ate this thing that, wasn't really a great choice, but it was better than what so-and-so was ordering. Well, that's, again, we need to make choices according to our own metrics, our own goals, our own big why. Okay. The last one is, am I subconsciously sabotaging my goals because I'm feeling a little bit rebellious, right? Am I in the moment and I kind of have this screw it mentality? I don't even care. Like, that's such a common one that I hear. People will catch themselves saying, you know what? I don't even care. It's been such a hard week. I've worked so hard. I deserve this. Forget it. I don't even care. I'm going to order whatever I want. Yeah, that's where we go back to number one. How am I going to feel about this choice in an hour, right? Am I staying in my adulthood? That really stems from that old on the wagon, off the wagon mentality that either we're eating clean and totally on plan or all bets are off and, this will start over again on Monday or whatever. It's like, no, there's no wagon. Just be here now. Take a deep breath. This is not your last meal. It's certainly not your last meal out. You know, if you're going to have a bite of dessert or whatever, okay. But, you know, again, we have to understand why we're doing this in the first place. If you have an autoimmune condition, having a bite of someone's pasta, not a good idea. Gluten needs to be a never for you. That is, yeah, I can't emphasize that enough. So again, why does all of this matter so much? Because eating out is awesome. It's fun to just go be in a different environment, eat different food, and, you know, enjoy dining out with other people, just having the full experience. But if we're in our head the entire time, weighing things, trying to rationalize, arguing with our inner toddler, you know, we're not present. We're not enjoying all of this. So planning ahead a little bit, thinking through how am I likely to feel if we go to da-da-da restaurant where I used to order XYZ that I loved. You know, how is that going to work for me? So planning ahead, thinking through that a little bit and staying in your integrity. So I hope this is helpful. Again, you know, when folks ask me, gosh, I need help figuring out how to eat out on paleo diet, what they think they're asking is, I don't know what to order. That is not the trickiest part of this. Yes, we need a little bit of information so that we can improve our choices. And I've given you that and I've, you know, done a whole video on that. But I don't see that is where people are derailing themselves. It's these mental gymnastics that are happening, you know, perceptions, you know, whether real or imagined, that are happening there. So, you know, you can eat out on a paleo diet. You can eat a delicious, satisfying, filling meal, and you can feel good about your choices, and you can move in the direction of your goals. You literally can have it all. I do it all the time. I mean, and my clients do as well, and it doesn't take them very long at all to get on board with this. So let me know if you have questions, and we'll just keep kind of plugging away at some of this stuff. Take care.